joining us to talk about that is a longtime friend of the show, Anthony Dabbundo, who's at The Ringer. Anthony's a soccer columnist for them, and he's also a co-host of the gambling show over there, which you should watch and listen to. And try not to hold it against Anthony, but he's a rabid Philadelphia sports guy, so feature or bug, kind of depends on who you are. And he's also an on-again and off-again prediction market trader, so one of us. Anthony, did I do you justice? Welcome to the show.
You beautifully encapsulated how my brain works, which is just in a variety of different ways. I'm fascinated by so many different things, from, yes, the World Cup, to who's going to win the Senate, to will there be a runoff in some random Georgia election, and whether or not the Phillies can make the playoffs or not. I'm heading to Citizens Bank Park tonight to support the boys. So, yes, always thinking about something, what's going to happen next. It's a lot of fun.
Well, you are a Renaissance man, and I do think I was doing the Philadelphian you justice to say, look, like, you can hate this dude. I feel like being from Philadelphia, you do embrace the hate on some level, and it's just part of who you are.
Yeah, I think you have to be willing to do anything in media. You have to be willing to take criticism and to let the haters kind of wash over you and just not bother you. So, like, yes, I see the Reddit posts, I see the tweets, the mean stuff that people will write about you online. That's all part of the game. Chalk it up to the game.
Yeah. All right. Well, the game today is we're going to take sports, which you're very sharp on, and we're going to take geopolitics, where we can kind of meet in the middle, and we're going to talk about the place where they collide so brightly, which is the World Cup. So, hey, spoiler alert, the World Cup is finally here in the United States. I think you've even been to a game or two. And just like sage setting here, has the World Cup been as terrible as we heard it was going to be? Like, seats too expensive for fans to come to, no one able to get visas because Trump has the border closed. Like, does the World Cup suck like we were told it would?
I think it's the power of soccer, the power of community, the power of really the general welcomingness of the American people that has made this tournament such a rousing success so far. And yes, there are the one-off stories. Everybody kind of has heard the one-off stories about different issues with the tournament. But at the end of the day, this happens every 4 years. I mean, you only have to go back 4 years ago when Qatar hosted the World Cup. People died. Human rights violations and building stadiums to get them ready for that World Cup. Much worse than anything that happened in the build-up to this World Cup. Yes. Is FIFA greedy? Yes. Are there plenty of issues with FIFA? Yes. Were the tickets very expensive and tough to afford for the common man? Yes. But did that stop millions of people from coming from Europe, from other countries, from Asia? I met fans from 4 different continents on Friday outside SoFi before the U.S.'s first game, all to see soccer. And Sepp Blatter, the former president of FIFA, I always thought has said it best. The World Cup isn't really about the soccer. The soccer is the setting for the party, and the party that happens in the host nation every 4 years, for the whole community to come together, all of the heartwarming and kind of like we are the world globalism that has come about as a result of this has been really heartwarming for me to enjoy the scenes on social media and to see it in person as well.
All right. So this is Eventual. We're going to talk about the collision of politics, culture, and markets. Trump hasn't made this tournament about himself. And Polymarket has some sort of interesting lines about, like, where Trump and the World Cup will intersect. And so I'll just read some off right now. So one is we've got this bet: will Trump show up at the World Cup final? That's trading at 90%. We've got this other one that's sort of interesting for a president that is like so obsessed with sports and very out there getting to events. How many matches will Donald Trump go to this World Cup? The favorite there, it's actually just one game at 60%, and we can talk about that. And then there's this absolutely hilarious one that like really gets to the president's nature, and that is he going to photobomb the winning team at the trophy ceremony? Like literally, grasps the trophy next to Kristen Pulisic or whoever it is, and that's trading at a smidge over 50. So 3 kind of bets about the tournament, 3 kind of bets about the president's nature, and I'm just kind of curious, of these, like, are there any that you're like, that's actually way undervalued? I think I would actually take the other side of that trade.
I would take the yes, he'll be in the photo. There was a report yesterday from Yahoo that said that he is expected to join the winning team for the trophy lift at MetLife Stadium in the final. He will be at the final. I am certain of it. I am quite surprised he wasn't at the U.S.'s first match.
Yeah.
which was Friday night at SoFi. I really do think it was because he was at the Knicks game Monday and he had his big UFC event on Sunday night in DC that they were preparing for. So
Yeah.
I think logistics probably were the only reason. So he said Marco
Susie
Rubio.
Wiles dropped the hammer, said
Yeah,
you got to eat your vegetables.
You can't do 3 sporting events in 1 week, Mr. President. You are still running the country, at least they say. And so he wasn't there. Marco Rubio was there instead, sat next to the president of FIFA, Gianni Infantino, and the Paraguayan president, whose name I do not know. I'm sorry to any Paraguayan listeners. But they did show them briefly on the screen, and there was a chorus of boos that came from SoFi. I think mostly for Infantino. He's not a very popular figure. He has his own private jet on standby so that he can attend at least one match every single day of the World Cup. Credit to him. He's getting his miles in. He was at the first 2 games in Mexico. He was at the U.S. game. He flew east to be at Brazil and Morocco. So he's been everywhere. Credit to him. But he's getting plenty of boos. As far as Trump goes, though, there is precedent. And this is why the polymarket thing is interesting. There is precedent for this. Last summer, as a trial run for the World Cup, the U.S. hosted the Club World Cup, which is essentially the World Cup for just club teams. So Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain, Man City. Chelsea won it, and Trump was on stage, giving out the trophy and then staying on the stage to the point where the English players were kind of looking at him funny, like, hey, what are you doing up here? What's going on?
Yeah. I think Putin did this too during the... Yeah. I think Putin frame-mogged the champions as well. I mean, it seems like it's only really a logistics concern here. I mean, when has Trump been shy around athletes? I was thinking, if you really wanted to take out your pen and paper, though, the line might be kind of overvalued. So, on one hand, Polymarket has Trump showing up at the final at 90%. My understanding is his office has said he's going to be there, so that's a pretty good indication. But if you're looking at 50% odds that he will frame mog the winning team with the trophy presentation, I do think the implied odds there are maybe a little high if we're not saying it's 100% chance that Trump's going to be there. Are you feeling henpecked, or are you sticking to this? You really do think that Donald Trump is going to be Donald Trump and he's going to ride out on the Secret Service limo and collect that trophy?
I mean, he's going to hand it out, right? So he's going to want to stay around to be in the photo again. He's just going to lurk and stand there and kind of saunter in the midst, and then we'll see. I mean, I think somebody, and now it's become a bit to an extent where people are going to be trying to get photos of him frame mogging or whatever, being in the frame.
Photobombing is my generation.
That photo is now part of the story, and that intersects a whole politics angle into what is mostly a sporting event. I mean, let's say France wins the World Cup. I don't think there's going to be some massive geopolitical statement that says to the world. It's just going to be like, yeah, France was the best soccer team at this event. Spain, England, same thing. Maybe England winning for their first time in 60 years would be something crazy. But I think for the most part, it's going to be whatever country that is getting mad because Trump is in the shot and Trump not giving an F. And then that'll kind of just be how this goes in the final. And then, of course, there will be many more eyes on the World Cup final than there were on the Club World Cup final, just by nature of the event. So it will inevitably spark people getting annoyed at Trump again, much like Knicks fans got annoyed at him for amping up security at the final game last week, game 3. So yeah. So there is actually something here for true prediction market nerds, which is there's a whole category of bets that you can find wherever you do your predicting about who Trump will meet with this month and who he'll meet with this year. So sort of predicting diplomatic relationships, which seems like it has some utility. But I just imagine as the tournament goes deeper, you tend to see the heads of state from the teams that are doing well fly in. Macron flying in, Merkel flying in. I think Merkel wound up sending her deputy to one of the tournaments. But you could have a situation where Trump is now rubbing shoulders with Claudia Sheinbaum or the prime minister of South Korea or president, whatever their office is, which would trigger some very long shot bets. So there's definitely a galaxy brain take in here for true prediction market hardos. I am not laying my credibility down on who's going to be in Trump's box at the finals, though. You got to figure out who's going to be in the finals. It's almost a soccer question as much as it is a geopolitics question.
Last question for you. Okay, let's go big picture here. So I think there's like two big social stories to watch this World Cup, and one of them is like the big meme, which is the Europeans coming to America and like tweeting about how amazing their free refills and air conditioning are, and like obvious,
Bucky's, you
yeah,
name it, fast food, big stadiums, big everything. Yeah,
that's right. Like, look at these ranch houses that are so much bigger than our like cute, quaint Duquesne village homes, like whatever that meme is. Like it's clearly a joke, but it's also happening at a time where Europe is kind of in a slump. So like there might be an impact, whatever. And then I think the other sort of like meme social story here is like the Midwest has gotten completely cucked in this World Cup. Like Kansas City is the only city hosting. Mexico and Canada though get 5 host cities collectively. So like NAFTA has totally put the Midwest in the cuck chair, like yet again. So I'm wondering, like, what are you betting on? Like, what socio-political force are you betting on? Are you betting on like the Europeans going back to the continent the way the French soldiers did after the American Revolution and start saying like, why don't we have nice things? Like, we need to overthrow our governments. Or are you betting on like Midwestern populism here, angered by NAFTA?
It's funny, the Midwest. I think the most heartwarming story that's come out of this tournament has been the Lawrence, Kansas, and Algeria partnership. Imagine saying
gosh.
that. The whole World
Right.
Cup is just Mad Libs, but
Yeah.
Lawrence hosting the Algerian soccer team. They picked a small college town, Kansas University, and or KU, University of Kansas, and they're out there, and you're seeing all these Midwestern white dudes, for lack of a better term, coming out and saying how happy they are that Algeria picked their town. You got the guy saying rock chalk Algeria. And then now it's game day, right? We're recording this on game day, and the Algerians have completely taken over downtown Kansas City, as well as the Argentinians, and the scenes are amazing. So Chicago didn't want it. So it's kind of their own fault. Chicago declined to bid. They were like, we're good. I don't know. The ghost of Rahm Emanuel was probably involved in that.
Yeah, we got the
not a great
Cubs.
look for his incoming presidential run. But they just didn't want it. But I will say, as far as like the whole European thing, I do think it's come at a good time for the U.S. in terms of trying to repair its image. Because every time I'm in Europe, all I hear from Europeans is how annoyed they are with us, how all they hear in the news is about how terrible Trump is and how terrible other things are. And whether it's true or not, whatever your politics are, it is good to present our country in a more favorable light. And it can't hurt. I'm not sure it actually matters in terms of moving the needle because, the culture takes decades to change.
Yep.
Europe's not going to become a richer continent just because they saw how rich we are, right? I don't think that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah. I listen, like I know that I'm the target audience for this type of like, viral Twitter post, but like this is always an interesting story to follow in human history. And I'll certainly be enjoying my Twitter posts of, German and Japanese soccer fans posting about hot dogs and how great they are. And I will.
Everything is
look
bigger
forward.
in Texas, Alex. Everything is bigger in Texas.
That's true.
That's
Let's
what the
go
Japanese
Japan.
keep telling us.